Bhagavan said, "Who are you?" He said, "I am Agni Dev. By my abilities, I can incinerate the whole of this creation." Bhagavan put a straw in front of him, a dried piece of grass. "All right, burn this." So Agni looked at it and said, "What kind of a joke is it? Burn this?" How this body works is so astonishing. We just take it for granted. 37 trillion cells. And every cell is like a universe. Now biologists would go and they would study a cell for 10 years and still say that I don't know much about the cell. Because Francis Collins, who's presently the director of the National Institute of Health in Washington, he was also the head of the first human genome project. So the scientists of the world got together and created a team. And Francis Collins was the head of the team to decode the human genome. And after years of work, for the first time when it got decoded, that was the 1990s, so Bill Clinton took the stage to announce, along with Francis Collins, that we have now decoded. Nowadays it's done more easily, etc. That was the first time. And subsequently, Francis Collins wrote this book, Language of God. It just came into my hand, somebody gave it to me and I read it. He says that after this scientific success, now I should have been in a position to say that there is no God, we ourselves are playing God. However, my faith in God has only got enhanced. And why? The human genome is so complex, he says. If you start writing it on A4 size sheets, those sheets would stack up to the height of Washington Monument. And if you start reading at the rate of 3 syllables in a second, you would keep on reading for 31 years to complete it. And it's all packed in each of your 37 trillion cells. And it's all packed up like this. Now if you stretch it, the estimate is it'll go to the sun and back 2 times. This is the complexity of this body. The best of scientists, they admit. Newton himself said at the end of his life that I was like a child playing with pebbles on the seashore while the whole undiscovered ocean lay in front of me. And how right future developments proved his statements to be. On the other hand, there's a whole body of scientists who just says that what we know is the absolute truth. There can be nothing beyond that. When I first started my discourses, preaching, dissemination of this knowledge, so I got into problems with my throat because I was speaking too loudly and the throat rebelled. One satsangi took me, he said, this Nagpur Medical College, I was there at that time, their head of ENT, I know him and let me take you to him. So I went to him and he looked and he gave some tips. He said, you do this and you do that. And then I told him that, do you have a book that explains how this throat creates sound? He said, you are the first patient who has asked me this question. So he went and got out a big book and gave it to me. And I read the book. Now I'm talking of 35 years ago. So the book said that there are 2 theories of how these waves are created. One theory says that they are horizontal and the other says they are vertical. Now I am sure by now people may have come to know, but at that time they did not even know. So likewise, I ask doctors in any field, I ask an ophthalmologist, how much of the eye do you know? They say, Swamiji, at present we only know 4% of the eye. This is how complex this creation is. And this creation naturally hasn't come about by an accident. It is revealing the glory of its creator. If only we wish to use common sense. Now when people say, Swamiji, you were a man of science, how come you believe in God, such hocus pocus? I say, because I use my common sense. Now, one teacher, a geography teacher, told his students that this world just got created by itself, there is no Bhagavan and God. So he gave them a homework, you make a map of the world and bring it. So the students utilized their ingenuity, one traced it from an atlas, one did a freehand sketch, one tried to download from internet and replicate, etc., etc. And one of the students had been attending the Bal Mukund class. So he had an idea. He took a paper and scratched some lines on it and threw some colors in. And next day he came, all the students were submitting their homeworks. He also slipped his assignment in. The teacher arrived. He began looking at the papers and evaluating them. So 7 on 10, 6 on 10, 9 on 10, until he came to that scrap. And that annoyed him. He said, "Who did this?" Now the whole class was silent. "Tell me who did this." No response. "Answer, otherwise I'll punish all of you." Now the student got up. He said, "Sir, in my opinion, nobody did it." "What do you mean?" "I mean, it must have happened by chance the paper flew and fell on your desk. And then by chance a pencil flew and some lines got scratched. And then by chance some colors got filled in there. It all happened by accident." The teacher said, "Are you crazy? Such a wonderful thing getting made by accident? Somebody must have made it. And in my opinion, you are the little imp who has made it." The student said, "Sir, you are not willing to believe that a little map of our planet Earth can be made by itself. And you want me to believe that the actual thing got made by itself. So if this requires a maker, then the world also requires a maker. This is only common sense." Now you say, don't use your common sense. Okay, but if you use a little bit of it, you say, my God, what an astonishing creation. It has a divine intellect behind it. Now you cannot say that, the works of William Shakespeare got created because of a big bang in a typewriter shop. In the olden days, we used to have those typewriters where you had to press the keys. And it had the rider, so then you had to put it back again and cut. So it used to be called a typewriter shop. You go there, I need this to be typed. So somebody says that last night there was an explosion in my typewriter shop. So by chance the right keys kept getting pressed. And when the line got complete, by chance the rider returned to its original place. And then again by chance those keep getting pressed. And then when the whole paper was complete, by chance it flew off and another paper reached there by chance. And this continued happening by accident. In the morning when I arrived, then the complete works of William Shakespeare were stacked up there. Even the biggest stretch of imagination cannot make that seem credible to us. Likewise, behind creation is that infinitely intelligent creator. So, he is revealing to us through these verses how we can perceive His presence. And He says, know me to be the ability in humans. So we get these abilities to do something. And we say, oh my God. And then, supposing you don't realize that the ability is coming from somewhere, and He puts the switch off, then the ability is withdrawn. Now you realize, my God. So there's the story in the Vedas that in the Devasura Sangram, when the Devatas became proud, and Bhagavan manifested as a light, and Agni accosted him and said, who are you? So Bhagavan said, who are you? He said, I am Agni Dev. By my abilities, I can incinerate not just Yosemite Valley, the whole of this creation. So Bhagavan said, really? Bhagavan put a straw in front of him, a dried piece of grass. All right, burn this. So Agni looked at it and said, what kind of a joke is it? Burn this. So it's like telling, big khali that kill a mosquito. So Agni started increasing his temperature now to billions of degrees centigrade. And at that red heat, he moved forward and God switched off the power source. So Agni cooled down now. He's going towards absolute zero, saying, oh, who has turned off the heat? Give me some comforters. I'm feeling cold. The ability was withdrawn. Likewise, we all have this experience. God can enhance our abilities, withdraw it. That energy is coming from Him. Let's feel His presence in everything. About 40 years ago, I went to Yamunotri and we walked 7 hours up and down the hills. By the time we reached Yamunotri, where the river Yamuna begins, we were quite exhausted and we discovered a cave by the side. 3 of us walked into the cave.